In 11.4, we have a few different theorems that we will discuss in detail, but I'm going to go over some main points. So as a review, we have talked about central angles. So let's just take this central angle. It looks to be maybe a little bit over 90. So let's just call it 95 degrees. And we've learned that if the measure of the central angle is 95 degrees, the measure of this arc, I'm going to label it arc AB, so the measure of that arc would also be 95 degrees. Now, what we're going to talk about in this section is called an inscribed angle. And this purple angle right here is referred to as inscribed. And in order for it to be inscribed, it just has to have the vertex on the circle. So notice right here, where a central angle, the vertex is at the center, right here. So that's a key characteristic of a central angle, is when the vertex is at the center. An inscribed angle, the vertex is going to be on the circle. So we have an inscribed angle theorem. If you see that purple angle, it looks much smaller than the red angle. And so it actually has a special relationship, and we can call this, I'm going to let this be C. We can say the measure of angle ACB, that's the inscribed angle, is always half of the intercepted arc. And so in this case, the measure of angle ACB is 1/2 the measure of arc AB. So if we know that the measure of angle arc AB is 95 degrees, then the measure of angle ACB is going to be half of that, which would be 47.5 degrees. And that's really what we're going to talk about in terms of the inscribed angle. So you have to know what an inscribed angle is in terms of the vertex being on the circle, and then it's always going to have the relationship where it's half of the intercepted arc. And so some students like to draw in like an auxiliary line here to imagine if this was extended. And so you can see how we refer to this as that intercepted arc. Now you do have a corollary that goes along with this inscribed angle. Let's say I have another inscribed angle. So I'm going to just draw a different angle here. And I'm just going to draw this in blue. And so I'm going to put a vertex on the circle, and then I'm going to draw in my angle. Now, what do you notice about this green angle? I am going to give it some points, but look at some characteristics. I'm going to label this with an X. So do you notice that the angle AXB is inscribed? And do you notice that it has the same intercepted arc? So arc AB is the intercepted arc of that angle, and the angle is angle AXB. So it's going to have the same characteristic. It has the arc that's 95 degrees. So clearly this angle would also be 47.5 degrees. So the corollary basically says if you have inscribed angles with the same intercepted arc, they have to be congruent. And so that's really just what that corollary is saying.